So, hello friend. Hello friends, welcome to my channel. So in this video, I am going to talk about the revision notes of Cbse class 12 Macroeconomics chapter 4, that is determination of income and employment. The first topic, that is aggregated demand. It refers to the total value of all final goods and services that are planned to be purchased by all sectors of the economy at a given level of income over a given time. Aggregated demand denotes the total expenditure on goods and services in an economy over a given time. So aggregated demand will graph will be like this: price level by real GDP. Components of aggregated demand in an open economy. Components, what are the components are there is consumption expenditure by household, that is C; investment expenditure, that is I; government consumption expenditure, that is G; net exports, that is X minus M. Therefore AD, aggregated demand, is equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus M. This is the formula for aggregated demand. Next, components of aggregated demand in closed economy is a three-sector economy. Aggregated demand is equal to C plus I plus G is a formula for three-sector economy. For a two-sector economy, a aggregated demand is equal to C plus I is the formula for a two-sector economy. Next is X at a aggregated demand. The term X at a refers to what has already been planned. So it is planned aggregated demand. Next, X post aggregated demand. Actually, consumer spends and business capital invest or are included in X post aggregated demand. In other words, the X post describes what actually occurred. Next is aggregated supply. First we learned aggregated demand, now aggregated supply. It is the monetary value of all final goods and services purchasable by an economy over a specific period. It refers to the movement of goods and services in the economy. Aggregated supply is nothing more than national income, because the money value of final goods and service equals net value added, that is aggregated supply is equal to C plus S. The aggregated supply represents the country's national income, so AS is equal to Y, national income. Next is consumption function. Household income is the most important determinant of consumption demand. The relationship between consumption and income is described by a consumption function. The most basic consumption function assumes that consumption changes at the same rate as income. So the consumption function, it tells us that relationship between the consumption and income is described by a consumption function. The most basic consumption function assumes that consumption changes at the same rate as income. Equation of consumption function is C is equal to C plus Cy. Here C is consumption function, C to the power C dash is autonomous consumption, Cy is induced consumption, Y is the income. So here it is the graph CYD. Here theta is equal to tan inverse B. C is equal to A plus BYD, where 0 is polar, 0 is smaller than P is smaller than 1. The consumption curve starts from y-axis because even when the income is 0, there is some consumption. Autonomous consumption, it is denoted by C dash and represents consumption that is unaffected by income. When consumption occurs, even when income is 0, it is due to autonomous consumption. Hence, this consumption is independent of income. Induced consumption. The induced consumption of induced components of consumption CY demonstrates consumption dependence based on earnings income. Hence, this consumption is dependent on income. Next is propensity to income to consume. Propensity to consume is of two types. Average propensity of consume. It refers the consumption per unit of time. It is denoted as C by Y. Point that you have to remember about APC is if APC is greater than 1, if APC is greater than 1, or if consumption exceeds national income before the break-even point, then APC is greater than 1. If APC is equal to 1, when APC is equal to 1, consumption equals national income at the break-even point. If APC is smaller than 1, when APC is less than 1 after the break-even point, consumption exceeds national income. Inverse relation with income. APC decreases as income increases, hence income and APC are inversely related. Next is APC can never be 0. APC can never be 0 because autonomous consumption exists even at a 0 level of national income, so that's why APC cannot be 0. Next is marginal propensity of consume, that is MPC. It is the change in income per unit change in consumption. It is represented by C and equals question mark C by question mark Y, where delta C is change in consumption and delta Y is change in income. This is MPC is equal to question mark C by question mark Y. Points that you have to remember about MPC is if MPC is equal to 1, if all the extra income is consumed, then delta C is equal to delta Y, resulting in MPC is equal to 1. If MPC is equal to 0, however, if the entire additional income is saved, delta C is equal to 0 and MPC is equal to 0. Constant MPC is the slope of consumption curve and it remains constant in the short time. APC value is smaller than MPC. Saving function. The functional relationship between saving and national income is referred to as the saving function. Equation of saving function is S is equal to F into Y, where S is savings, Y is national income, F is the functional relation, so therefore X is equal to minus A plus 1 minus B into Y is the formula, where 1 minus P is equal to MPS, and Y is income, okay, here Y is income, and minus A, it is savings when Y is 0, it is A minus A is equal to savings. Savings function, savings aggregated income, C 0 to X axis, Y axis, 0 to C, from here it is going to S. In the given diagram, the S curve starts from below 0, as when income is 0, the savings are negative. Next is propensity to save. Propensity to save is of two types. Average propensity to save. Okay, average propensity is to save. APS, it refers to the savings per unit of income. It is denoted as S by Y. Points that you have to remember about this APS is savings can never be equal to or greater than income. So APS can never be or more than 1. At the break even point, when C is equal to Y, APS can be 0. As here S is equal to 0, this is because when a person consumes equal to what he or she earns, there are no savings. Okay. Next is when consumption exceeds income at income level lower than the break minus even point, APS can be negative. With an increase in income, APS rises, hence APS and income are directly related. Next is marginal propensity to save, that is MPS. It is change in savings per unit of income change. It is represented by S and equals 1 minus C. This is because 1 is the whole, and if 1 is less consumption from it, we can get the savings. It follows that S plus C is equal to 1. The total of savings and consumption equals 1. That is MPS is equal to question mark S by question mark Y. The points that you have to remember about MPS is MPS range from 0 to 1. MPS is the saving curve's slope. In the short run, MPS remains constant. The relationship between APC and APS is the product of APC and APS equals 1. It can be demonstrated like this: APC plus APS is equal to 1, Y plus C plus S. Dividing both the sides by 1, we get Y by Y is equal to C by Y plus S by Y. That is 1 is equal to APC plus APS. APC is equal to C by Y. APS is equal to S by Y. Therefore, APC plus APS is equal to 1. Now, the relationship between MPC and MPS is, we know that MPC plus MPS is equal to 1. Also, Y is equal to C plus S. Hence, delta Y is equal to delta C plus delta S is the equation 1. Delta C is equal to change in consumption, delta Y is equal to change in income, delta S is equal to change in savings. So MPC is equal to delta C by delta Y. MPS is equal to delta S by delta Y. So dividing equation 1 with the change in Y on both the sides, delta Y by delta Y is equal to delta C by delta C plus delta Y minus C by delta Y is the formula, where 1 is equal to delta C by delta Y plus delta S by delta Y. So therefore 1 is equal to MPC plus MPS is the formula. Next is investment. An investment is an asset or item purchased with an intention of earning income or increasing in value. An increase in the value of an asset over time is referred to as appreciation. Two heads of investment are there: induced investment and autonomous investment. In induced investment, it is defined as an investment that is based on profit expectation and is directly influenced by income level. Autonomous investment, it is defined as an investment that is not affected by changes in income and is not motivated solely by a profit motive. Next is ex ante investment. Ex ante investment refers to an investment made by firms in the economy during a specific period. The planning is done with future expectation in mind. Next is ex post investment. This refers to the actual investment made by all entrepreneurs in the economy during a given period. It is the outcome of actual investment. Equilibrium level of income. The equilibrium level of income is only determined when AD is equal to AS or S is equal to I. when the flow of goods and services in the economy equals the demand of goods and demand for goods and services, that is not an equilibrium level of income. However, it cannot be at full employment and may be less than full employment. Next is short-run output, the quantity of real GDP that will exist when AD interest, aggregated demand interest, is short-run aggregated supply in a short-run macroeconomic equilibrium is the amount of aggregated output produced. Assumptions are there that closed economy, the framework of two sector models. The determination of equilibrium output will be investigated. It implies that there is no government or international sectors such that AD is equal to C plus 1. Self-contained investment, it is assumed that investment expenditure is self-contained. Investment are unaffected by income levels. Short period analysis, this analysis is with the reference to short period only. So that's why the short period analysis. Next is add as approach, the levels of output where the aggregated demand equals aggregated supply, AD is equal to AS in an economy. It indicates that whatever the producers intended to manufacture during the year, the exactly equal to what the buyer intend to purchase during that year. Here AD is equal to C plus 1 for a two sector economy, and AS is equal to C plus S. That is, AD is equal to aggregated demand, AS is equal to aggregated supply, C is equal to consumption, I is equal to interest, S is equal to savings. So graph will be like this: aggregated demand, and y-axis is aggregated demand, and x-axis is income, output, and employment. So two lines R, K, S, and YT. This graph, AD for C plus 1, M and O is not there. Okay. So in this diagram represents aggregated demand and the situation of equilibrium at point K, where AD is equal to S and the level of equilibrium output at point Y. Next topic is two different situations. Here AD is greater than ES. In this case, aggregated demand exceeds aggregated supply, and a situation of unfulfilled demand persists. To curb this situation, the producers will enhance the levels of output and production such that AS could increase and become equal to AD. And this situation of equilibrium is restored, and this is shown in the point R in the diagram where AD is smaller than AD is greater than AS. Here. Next is AD is smaller than AS. In this case, aggregated demand is less than the aggregated supply, and the situation of unwanted stocks persists. To curb this situation, the producers will decrease the level of output and production such that AS could decrease and become equal to AD, and this situation of equilibrium is restored. This is shown as point S in the diagram where AD is smaller than AS. Next is saving investment approach. It is the point of equilibrium where S is equal to I. Here S is equal to savings or withdrawals and I is equal to investment or injections. So y-axis, x-axis, y is P straight I investment, y-axis S savings. So y1, y2, y1, y2 are there. Income, output. Explanation of this diagram is here point E on the diagram represents the equilibrium point where S is equal to I, point E that I mentioned, and the quantity of money removed from the economy equals the amount of money put into the economy at the point. In the economy, AD is equal to AS at this level. Two situations are there here also. S is greater than I. People spend, some of the anticipated outputs remains unsold, forcing companies to keep unsold items on hand. Less income means less savings, and this cycle will continue until savings equals investment. S is greater than I. People spend more money than is necessary to purchase the projected output when S is greater than I. This means that AD outnumbers AS in the economy. As a result, manufacture will increase output to compensate for the situation. As a result, investment rise to the point where it equals investment. Equilibrium. So equilibrium is reached when AD is equal to AS. We already know that AD is the sum of the consumption and investment. AD is equal to C plus I, second equation. So additionally, AS is the sum of the consumption and savings. So AS is equal to C plus S, third equation. When we substitute second and third equation into one, we get C plus S equal to C plus I, or S is equal to I. So note that here that you have to remember that AD, AS, savings and investment, they all are X and variables. Types of employments, let us know. Full employment, this occurs when all those who are able and willing to work at the privileged wage rate are given the opportunity to do so. Voluntary unemployment this occurs when a person is able to work but unwilling to work at the privileged wage rate. But it means he want to work, but he don't want to work at the rate the company is giving to him. He want more salary or more money, you can say. Involuntary unemployment, it is this occurs when a worker is able and willing to work at the privileged wage but is unable to find work. Means here he want money is also okay, how much salary they give, it's okay. He want to work but he is not getting any work. It means any company is not taking him. Underemployment, it occurs when all those who can work at current wages rate are unable to find work. It refers to economic situation in which AS is equal to AD or S is equal to I, but this is insufficient labor force utilization. Next is multiplier mechanism. The multiplier shows us that as what the eventual change in income will be as a result of a change in investment. Changes in investment leads to changes in income. The aggregated demand rises when the autonomous measures A rises. As a result, output and income will rise in the next round, causing consumption and the AD to rise. This is referred to as the multiplier mechanism. It is represented symbolically by delta I, delta Y, delta C, delta Y. Now working of this multiplier is, now delta is 1000, let us take delta Y is equal to 1000. So therefore 4 by 5 into 1000 is equal to, here MPC is equal to 4 by 5. Here only they have given delta K is equal to 1000. 4 by 5 into 1000 is equal to 800. We will get 800. Now 4 by 5 into 800 if we do, we will get 640. If we do 4 by 5 into 640, we will get 512. If we do 4 by 5 into 512, we will get 409.6. Like that infinity, it will be keep on going. Next, is here according to the above table, as MPC is equal to 4 by 5, the initial increase in investment of rupees 1000 results in the total increase in the income of rupees 5000. From the whole increase in income, rupees 4000 will be spent and rupees 5000 will be saved. Means 4000 amount you will be spending and 5000 will be saved. Derivation like this it will be, so 5000. Next, investment multiplier. The investment multiplier K is the ratio of the change in income caused by the change in investment. The value of investment multiplier ranges from 1 to infinity. K is equal to delta Y by delta I, or K is equal to 1 by M to 1 by 1 minus MPC, or K is equal to 1 by MPC. Next, excess demand. It occurs when aggregated demand exceeds aggregated supply, resulting in full employment. Reasons for excess demand, they are rise in the household consumption, demand due to increased propensity to consume, rise in private investment demand because of higher provisions and availability of credit facilities. Next, higher public expenditure, rise in demand for exports, rise in supply of money, rise in disposable income. Next, impact of excess demand on general price level. It would be like this: general price level increases as when aggregated demand exceeds aggregated supply. At a full employment level, there is a situation of inflation in this economy. Output, it has no impact on output as the economy is already at full employment level, thus no idle capacity exists, hence one cannot raise the output more than already. Employment is no impact on employment level, the economy is already operating at full employment equilibrium. So like this, it will be excess demand, output, price. Okay, graph will be like this. Next is deficient demand. It occurs when aggregated demand falls short of aggregated supply at full employment. To put it another way, aggregated demand is smaller than aggregated supply is at full employment. Reasons for deficient demand is fall in household consumption demand due to decreased propensity to consume, reduced public expenditure, fall in demand for export, fall in supply of money, fall in disposable income. Impact, what it will happen is general price level falls as when aggregated demand is less than aggregated supply at the full employment level. There is a situation of deflation in the economy. Output, low output level. So due to unemployment and reduced investment, output is low. Employment, low employment levels as there will be a case of involuntary unemployment. And diagram is like this. It will be okay. Next is inflationary gap. The difference between actual aggregated demand and the level of aggregated demand required to achieve full employment is known as the inflation gap. It assesses the magnitude of excess demand. The area between FE represents the inflationary gap, as here aggregated supply EM is less than the aggregated demand FM. As the output could not be increased beyond the full employment level, prices will rise and there will be a situation of inflation in the economy. Okay. Next is deflationary gap. Deflationary gap refers to the difference between the actual aggregated demand and the level aggregated demand required to achieve full employment. It assesses the degree of deficient demand. The area between A and B shows the deflation gap. The area between A and B shows the deflation gap. This is the deflation gap. Okay. Next is mechanism to control excess demand or deficient demand. Fiscal policy. Fiscal policy refers to general government expenditure and income policy used to achieve its objectives. It also includes change in taxation. Taxation is used to represent revenue policy. So excess demand. During an inflationary period, the government raises taxes, resulting in the loss in people's purchasing power. This is due to the fact that in order to limit excess demand, the economy liquidity must be reduced. Deficient demand. In case of deficient demand, tax rates, changes in public expense, the government must invest heavily in the public works projects like road, building and irrigation system. Excess demand. During an inflationary period, the government should limit its expenditure on a public work such as roads, buildings, irrigation projects, therefore reducing people's money, income and consumers' requirement. Next is deficient demand. During deficient demand, the government should increase its expenditure on public works such as roads, buildings and irrigation projects, therefore increasing people's money, income and consumers' requirement. Next is a shift in public borrowing. Excess demand. This measure implies that a government should borrow money from the general population, which reduces people purchasing power by leaving them with less money. Next, deficient demand. These measures implies that the government should reduce the borrowings from the general population, which increases people purchasing power. As a result, during period of deficient demand, the government should resort the reduced public borrowing. Next is monetary policy. It is the policy of a country's central bank to control the amount of money in circulation and the availability of credit in the economy. Quantitative measures. These are the monetary policies instruments that influence the overall supply of money credit in the economy. Bank rate. The bank rate is the interest rate at which a central bank lends money to the commercial banks with no security. Excess demand. Bank rate should be increased in situation of excess demand, as due to this the quantity of money accessible to banks decreases and the commercial banks' capacity to provide credits it also falls. Next is deficit demand. Bank rate should be reduced in the situation of deficit demand, as due to this the quantity of money accessible to banks increases and the commercial banks' capacity to provide credit also rises. Next is cash reserve ratio. It is a minimum percentage of bank total deposits that it must keep with the central bank. Excess demand CCR should be credit reserve ratio should be increased in situation of excess demand, as due to this the quantity of money accessible to the bank decreases and the commercial bank's capacity to provide the credit also falls. Next is deficit credit demand is cash reserve ratio should be reduced in the situation of deficit demand, as due to this the quantity of money accessible to banks increases and the commercial bank's capacity to provide credit also it rises. Next is statutory liquidity ratio. It is it specifies the minimum proportion of net total demand at the time obligation that commercial bank must retain with themselves. Excess demand is SLR should be increased in situation of excess demand, as due to this the quantity of money accessible to bank decreases and the commercial bank's capacity to provide credit also it falls. Deficient demand is SLR should be reduced in the situation of deficient demand, as due to this the quantity of money accessible to bank increases and the commercial bank's capacity to provide credit also rises. Open market operation OMO. It consists of central bank purchasing and selling government assets and bonds on the open market. Excess demands. In this situation of excess demands, the central bank should sell the government assets and bonds in the open market. This reduces the ability of commercial bank to provide loans. Where deficient demand, in situation of deficient demand, the central bank should buy the government assets and bonds in the open market. This increases the ability of commercial banks to provide more loans. Next is qualitative measures. A marginal measures is there that commercial bank extend loans to business and dealers in exchange for the security of their commodities. Excess demand. In this situation of excess demand, the marginal requirement are raised, as it discourages the borrowers because a high margin required means less amount of loan provided to them. Deficient demand. In this situation, the deficient demand, the marginal requirement are reduced so as to encourage the borrowers to take loans, as low margin required means more amount of loan provided to them. Credit rationing. The central bank can use this approach to direct commercial bank not to lend for specific reason or to lend more for specific objective or priority sector. Next is moral succession. Moral succession refers to the central bank persuasion, request, informal suggestion, advice and appeal to commercial banks to cooperate with the central bank overall monetary policy. Excess demand. In this case, excess demand, the central bank request for contraction of credit. Next is deficient demand. In this case of deficient demand, the central bank request for extension of credit. Next is paradox of thrift. It is defined as a situation in which the people tend to save more money, and this increases saving leads to reduced consumption, resulting in a decrease in aggregation consumption. Such a saving system reduces employment level, reduces total economic savings and slows economic growth. So okay friends, this was your chapter. The determination of income and employment. So this video is helpful to give a like and also share my video with your friends so that it will be helpful to your friends also, and also do comments if you need any help in the studies. So okay friends, I will see you in the next video with some other topics. Till then, take care, have a nice day, bye bye dear friends.